Hello again, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. Today's webinar is about Tekla 2023. What's the new, what's the features, and how you can gain the benefits out of these features. Today, I'm pleased to be your host. This 45 minutes will be covered by our experts. We have Kiran Jose from our service team, Bala Krishnan, and Babin Herbert. So for now, we will talk about the new features, starting with our colleague, Kiran Jose. So I will hand over the mic for my colleague, Kiran, and hopefully...
Thank you, Ala. And hi, everyone. Welcome to Tekla Structures 2023. And we are all happy to see you all joining us today. And my name is Kiran Jose. I'm from the Trimble Solutions Middle East office. And it's my pleasure today to share with you the new exciting features of Tekla Structures 2023. Without any further ado, let's jump into the updates. So here are some of the core messages that we are trying to deliver with the new updates. The first is getting the job done in the most efficient, effective, and reliable manner. And with the new update, we also focus to make the user interface of the software to be intuitive and straightforward, thus making even for the new users to navigate easily in the software and find out the required tools. And Tekla tried to deliver with confidence by providing reliable, accurate, and high quality output to meet the highest industry standard. And also with the new update, we also ensure that easy collaboration is established between the teams and stakeholders with the right information at the right time. So to start with, I will just show you the new drawing improvements in Tekla Structures 2023. So for those of you who have used Tekla Structures for the last few years, might be already familiar with the property pane in the modeling side. And the idea of property pane is to minimize the number of dialog and access all object properties from one location, that is from the right side property pane. And now the same thing has been applied even in the drawing side as well, and no more of different dialog box for each drawing properties. Now you can access all of the drawing properties from one location, that is from the property pane in the drawing side. So now let's look at a quick video and see how the new property pane in a drawing site look like. So with the help of new property pane, users would be able to view and modify the properties like the view properties, part mark, reinforcement marks, weld marks, and drawing object properties, grid lines, etc. And even the dimensions as well. And the new property pane is also coming with a visual editor, and in which you will be able to visualize the content of the mark or the view properties, etc. So here I have a section mark, and you can see how the visual editor shows the contents of the section mark. And now we will see how you can quickly edit using the new property pane. So here I have the view label, and if I just click on a plus, I would be able to add the required attribute, and I'm just adding a text. I can like double click on that text to update the text content for it, and then simply drag to a new position here. And then I can also change the format. I mean, I can change the color, the font size, etc., and hit modify, and it will be updated. And also I can simply drag the container to a new location and then hit modify, and it will be updated. And also you can also update those contents in the old fashion, like you can position the text with respect to the label line that is below or above, and then you can align it to the left or right or center. So like this. So now let's see how you can update a mark. So here I'm taking a reinforcement mark, and you can see how the contents are visualized in the visual editor. And now if I just click on plus, I can search for any attribute. It can be a standard attribute, user-defined attribute, or a custom attribute. It will be listed out here. And then to fine-tune, I can add, let's say, a spacing or any symbols like this from here, from the plus option itself, and then hit modify. So now this updated mark, I can just copy to rest of the reinforcement mark with the window selection, and from the property pane, I can exactly target the reinforcement mark. And now from the visual editor, I can choose the required settings, and then Upon hitting modify, the changes will be applied to all the reinforcement mark which I have just selected now. So this is how you can modify the marks, and the same thing applies with the part mark, assembly mark, and even the weld mark. And another improvement is that with the property pane, now you can categorize some of the properties as frequently used properties, like with a star mark from the property pane settings. And with this one, like, you would be able to hide all other properties and just focus on the properties which are frequently used. And now if you want to visualize all properties, just click on show all options from the property pane, and it will show you all the properties as per the property pane visibility settings. Now looking at the new drawing export improvements, the one of the major improvement is that now all the drawing views which is coming outside the drawing area is excluded by default in the drawing export settings. And again, like if users want to include all the drawings which views which is coming outside the drawing area, then just need to click on include views outside the drawing frame from the export dialog box. Additionally, all the template names are preserved as block name in the DWG file, which is exported, so that this can be used for post manipulation in ERP and SAP workflows, so that these templates can be excluded. And now if you are going to print all drawing at once, that is you just select a bunch of assembly drawings or cast unit drawings, and then when you click on print, there will be a new dialog which will warn you if the selected drawing is up to date, or if needs numbering, or needs further updates. So it will warn you in this way. Like here you can see in this dialog, here some of the drawings has been highlighted. And then before you print, you can decide whether you just need to click on number and update the drawings before you print, or as a recommended method, you will just print only the drawings which are updated. So this way there is no interruption while you print the process. And now looking into the cast unit drawings. So previously, whenever you modify, like you make some changes in the model and then open a cast unit drawing, multiple marks were added to the dimension tag, and this is due to the view filter being ignored. And the only way around in this case was to open the drawing after freezing the drawing. And now with the new updates, the dimension tags will be updated correctly during the model changes, and less time is spent on freezing the drawings. And now looking at the dimension rules, now we have a new control wherein users can specify the location of dimensions with respect to the main part. That is like a front view, top view, etc. So this way, if user want to place a secondary part dimension from the flange or web, or just want to dimension all the secondary parts which is coming on the front side or back side, they can do it with this new setting. And additionally, there is a new dimension type which has been introduced, which is called as the neighbor part dimension. So with the new neighbor part dimension, you can dimension all the neighboring parts which is coming in the cast unit drawings or assembly drawings. And to pull out a real use case, let's take a case of a continuous beam where you can dimension all the neighboring supports like columns and walls automatically with this setting. And looking at a new extension which is there in the drawing side, which is called as edge chamfer annotation tool, and this tool can be downloaded from the Tekla warehouse. So with this help of this tool, you would be able to create symbols for edges of chamfer or in the openings. And users can define different symbols for different types of edges which is coming in the chamfers and openings. And now let's look into the rebar sets. So before I talk about the improvements in rebar set, I just want to show you the roadmap of rebar set. And you can see how rebar set have transformed itself as a basic tool from its inception to a best and sophisticated tool in the market for modeling reinforcement. And this has been achieved through constant enhancements and adding new features with every upcoming versions. And this year is also no different. And in the latest version of Tekla, the focus was to improve the fabrication data coming from rebar set to be more constructible considering the fabrication requirements. So the first one is that if you are modeling an arc shape rebar with rebar sets, now this arc shape is properly recognized in the rebar shape manager. And also, if these arcs are combined with straight segments, like in this case of this longitudinal rebar of this retaining wall, the arc length, the bending radius, the arc radius, the straight length, all of these are properly reported in the rebar shape manager, and you can take all these info to the bar bending schedule. And in case if you have any requirement where if the diameter of the longitudinal bar is less and this needs to be supplied as a straight bar, now with a click of a button, you can force any bend shape to be recognized as a straight bar. Right? So let's look at a quick video on how this work in practice. So here I have a retaining wall, and I'm just going to isolate the longitudinal rebar, which is running straight and then curving at the end. So this one, I just select and then go to the rebar shape manager. And in the rebar shape manager, you can see by default, it will recognize the arc and the straight bit. It is actually reported here, and this can be taken to the bar bending schedule. So now I will show you how you can force it as a straight bar. I will just go to the rebar UDA, and in the shape recognition, I will recognize it as a straight bar as yes. And then now if I look at in the rebar shape manager, this bend rebar is now recognized as a straight bar, and I can supply to site as a straight bar. And adding to this function, we can also configure this shape recognition based on a set tolerance for each grade and diameter combination. So to pull out a real use case, I'm just going to show you the table number 6 from the BS 8666 2005 code. So here, this table specifies the maximum bending radiuses for each diameter sizes. So here you can see like it has specified the maximum bending radius. So if your arc shaped rebar is coming beyond this bending radiuses, it will be supplied as a straight bar. So now if you look specifically at diameter 6, you can see the maximum bending radius is 2.5 meter. So that's the tolerance. So now the same tolerances which has been specified in the code can be implemented in the rebar catalog. So in a new tab which is called as the maximum curve radius requiring bending. So in this column, you can specify those tolerances. So if your arc shape rebar is coming beyond this tolerances, rebar shape manager will automatically recognize it as a straight bar. All right. So now let's look at an example here. And I have an arc shaped rebar of diameter 6, and here I have modeled with a bending radius of 2525, which is exceeding 2.5 meter. Okay, so now if I just check in the rebar shape manager, you can see it has automatically recognized this as a straight bar. Now if I just change the diameter to 8, now the maximum bending radius is 2.75 meter. So now you can see it has been recognized as an arc-shaped rebar as it is within the tolerance. And now with the new improvements in rebar sets, it can report if a coupler is applied to a long leg of a bend-shaped rebar or a short leg of a bend-shaped rebar. And also the coupler attributes are stored in separate UDAs marking long leg and short leg, as in this case. And furthermore, with these user-defined attributes, you can create unique shape code indicating that the coupler is present on the long leg of the bend-shaped rebar. And for a similar shape, if the coupler is present on the short leg, you can also annotate in the shape code like in this way. So now if I show you an example, so in this model, I have already added the shape code for long leg and short leg. And now if I just apply a coupler to this rebar, which is a bend-shaped rebar, and applying coupler to the long leg, and now if I inquire the properties, I can see that the shape code has automatically taken it as long leg as the coupler is present on the long leg. And now if I drag and make this reinforcement length to be shorter. And now if I just check it, you can see that automatically the shapecode have taken to short. So here you can see has been taken to short. And now if I just again extend and make it as a long leg, and now if I inquire, you can see that the shapecode has automatically reverted to long leg. And previously, in some cases, when the arc-shaped rebars were modeled, the pull-out picture does not give the correct image. So now it will show the correct image along with the total length of that rebar. And now if you look at the automatic concrete host recognition feature, so previously in rebar set, the reinforcement were attached to the concrete based on the closest proximity of rebar center of gravity with respect to the concrete. So this logic was good actually, but however, this concept fails when two concrete intersect. Like in the case of slab and beam intersect, the top reinforcement of this beam is attached to the slab as the center of gravity of the top reinforcement falls in the slab. So because of that, this logic was actually causing some confusions. Now the auto parenting logic of rebar set has been revamped, and now all the rebar set which belongs to beam is attached with the beam itself, whereas with the slab all the reinforcement will be attached with the slab itself. And in case if users needs to make any manual intervention, they can just select that specific rebar set and then click on detach from part and attach to the new concrete host. Same way how it works with the old rebar groups. And now let's look at Tekla Structure's performance for the new version. So users spend a lot of time editing the drawings, and also we got many feedback from the users that when they try to open a drawing which is having large DWG files or complex concrete objects, it takes a bit long to open. So now with the new improvements made on the drawing side, it opens much faster than the previous versions. And here are some of the comparison with respect to the previous version in different aspects. And now the same thing applies even in the modeling side as well. So if I open a complex concrete model with many internal lines, the time for opening has been changed from 190 seconds to 80 seconds. And even in the same model, if I just open a 3D model, I mean a 3D view, the opening time has reduced from 109 to 19 seconds. And the performance of numbering has been also improved in the latest version. That applies for all Tekla structures parts, especially the complex part which is having multiple phases like concrete items, poly beams, bent plate, lofted plates. So all of these will be numbered much faster compared to the previous version. And now looking at the collaboration side. So collaboration is vital for any BIM project. And whenever you export IFC, you will ensure that the IFC will be exported with the site coordinates or civil coordinates for a seamless coordination with other discipline. And in Tekla, this is achieved through base point settings. So now if you look at the base point settings in IFC4, there is a new dialog which has been added, which is called as the base point export, and it has two options. One is IFC map conversion, and the other one is IFC site coordinate system. So the first one, the IFC map conversion, is actually the settings which is recommended by IFC4 schema. But however, we noticed that in some of the IFC viewer, this IFC map conversion setting is not supported, and when we try to view this IFC model, it shows an offset in its location. So to make it compatible with these IFC viewer, a new setting which has been added, which is called as IFC site coordinate system. So this one export the model in the right location, and it is compatible with the IFC viewers, and it works in the same way as that of IFC 2x3. And now if you look at the base point settings specifically in 2023, there is a new option which has been added to lock the base point. Once you enter the base point, the coordinate value will be locked, and then you can prevent any accidental modification which happens to the base point values. And also the new base point dialog will only save your value when you enter with a name. Like you can save the base point settings with a name, and like previously, whenever you enter the base point coordinates, it would accept it without entering a name. So that created some confusions. Now you can only save the base point with a name. And again, the base point values which you enter in one of the Tekla models, you can save it as an attribute file, and it will be saved in the model folder attributes folder. And from there, you can copy two different Tekla models where you need to use the same base point values. And now if you look at the IFC export, that is IFC 2x3 and IFC 4 export, the Rebar workflow has been enhanced. And if you look at specifically for the Rebar set export, it reads the user-defined attributes in the correct order. That is from the individual Rebar to Rebar set modifiers and then Rebar sets. And also, if you want to export the reinforcement as individual Rebar, then you can just turn on the advanced option access export IFC rebar set individual bars as true, then it will be exported as individual rebars. And by default, this option is false, so that the rebars will be exported as group. And also, new IFC entities and subtypes has been added in order to ensure that the Tekla structure model objects are mapped to correct IFC classes for a better coordination when it comes into the IFC data. And now let's look at the Tekla model sharing improvements. I'm sure many of you have already used the drawing version control in the Tekla drawings, wherein the users can revert back to any saved version of the drawing. However, like in the previous version, whenever this drawing changes are uploaded to cloud, only the last saved version of the drawing were preserved in the model sharing cloud. So that was a big concern for some of the users. And now with the new implementations in the model sharing, you can preserve all the versions of drawings in the cloud, and users would be able to revert back to any saved versions of the drawing even in the model sharing. Now coming to the Tekla model sharing console, if you look at the model sharing console, you can see it has been completely revamped in order to make it easy for the administrator to access the model sharing data. And also a new user menu has been added, which gives the data about the project belonging to each user. You can remove the users if required, search to find out the user data, customize the columns in the model sharing console, and also you can export the data table in an Excel format for further reviewing. All right, so that's all from my end. Thank you so much. And I'm just going to hand it over to my colleague Balakrishnan, and he will walk you through the remaining updates in Tekla structures, and also he will tell you about the updates in Trimble Connect as well. Thank you once again.
Yes, Ala, thank you. So, hello everyone. Welcome to the What's New in Tekla 2023. We are glad to have you all here today. My name is Balakrishnan, and I'm a technical consultant for Tekla products here at Trimble Solution Middle East. Without further ado, let's start with the steel improvements and the Trimble Connect. So here we have a new functionality in the holes. Like for example, you can do the tapping holes. So the tapped holes are most of the times needed whenever there is no access for the nuts. So the tapped hole will be done in the material with the threads. So this can be now possible to do modeling in the Tekla as a core size hole. You can do it. So the core size informations can be transferred to the CNC machines, as well as with the proper NC file viewer, you can view the threaded holes. Next, coming to the slotted holes with offsets. So most of the time in the fabrication and the installation, or in the design, wherever the thermal expansions or the seismic load vibrations are needed, there we need to give the holes in offsetted distance on the slot. So previously, to do this one, we had to go to the long process, like we have to go and model one more bolt object and change the slotted holes, and then two duplicated like objects will be there in one place. So now we don't want to go these kind of steps. So with the new versions, you can directly model using the new option, which is offsetted value box or next to the slotted hole. You can specify the values there and play with the slotted hole locations wherever the bolts are not in the middle. Coming to the multiple special holes on bolt group. So this is also one of the requirement in the previous versions. It is not possible to model a multiple different size of holes. For example, you need in one part it will be connected with the fin plate or connected to the beam, and if you want to change these details, only the slotted directions has to be given in a horizontal or the oversized hole or the rectangular hole. So now this is possible. So with the new latest version, you have to use these use extensions, same settings for all special holes. You have to you have to untick this option. So when you untick this option, it will be you can have then options to differentiate the different holes on the each part connected to it. Moving on to the weld preparation in the NC files export, this was like most of the time the welds are like exported to the CNC machines, where CNC operator come back to the design and saying that the webs are like incorrect in the DSTV viewer. So the DSTV viewer now has enhanced, so you can now export the right information. For example, here you can see the DSTV viewer with the red in color I have marked here. So you can view the webs are flushed properly with the flange, as well as when there is in a 4 corner cuts, you can see the webs are flushed properly. So this has been enhanced in the 2023 versions of Tekla structures. And one more part in the NC file export manufacturing check. An incorrect shape of web in the corner will be appeared. So in the previous versions when you export it. So now this has been enabled, and it will allow you to give an information about in the log file, mentioning that the radius, inner counter radius, small radius are not safe, maximum distance are not allowed. So this information you can view it in the NC file, log file, you can view it. Now this has been enabled. And also the small radius are possible to export it from the NC file. Coming to the integrated DSTV to DXF converter. So most of the time we used to have a lot of requests on the DXF converters. So this DXF converter is mostly required for whenever the machines are using the DXF as an input. So mostly, if I can say, it is like for the plates cutting machines we used to do. So the DXF file old version will allow only it's a direct way, you cannot change any settings there, and if you want to do that, you have to go and edit the configuration settings. So these steps now directly with the latest version of the user interface, you can specify the details and make the changes, and you can save these settings, and as well as you can next time use it as a macro. So these two options are added inbuilt with the Tekla structures. This can be like very useful for the most of the time when you are having two different machines, and you have to change the cuttings based on the layer settings in the DXF files. So that is now possible. And one more part here I have to give you, like this is not a very new, it has been already there for the older versions, like version 2022, 2019, the older version you can download from the Tekla warehouse. This now has been included inbuilt with the Tekla structures. And here are some new here are some new components informations like I have to share with you. There are a number of components has been enhanced in the latest version, but here are three main features I have to give you. So here, let's say the cage ladder. In the cage ladder, splitting the rails by length is now possible, and railings with S77 component, previously differentiating the two handrails with the end details where length is not possible to provide in the component, and now this has been separated. In tube gusset component, you have 20. For example, now in the bolts, bracing bolts, we have added an option to control the bolt rotations. So there are many things are there in the latest version of the Tekla structures, but you can contact us if you have any specific requirement. Moving on to the improvements in the upload Trimble Connect functionality. So as for example, most of the customers and the fabrication or the site engineers are nowadays started collaborating with the design team using the Trimble Connect project. So here in this Trimble Connect project, most of the time we get a request about how the wells can be viewed in the Trimble Connect. So previously, when you upload the Tekla model into the Trimble Connect, it is not possible to see the wells, but now with the latest version export, you can view the wells, and even you can extract the data in the Trimble Connect data table. Again, in the comparison of Trimble Connect, the model comparison, in the last year we have released comparing the IFC file, two different versions, and that is totally in the comparison inside the Trimble Connect. Now there is an enhancement here for example, if you want to compare IFC file format with the .Tekla format, these two different models now can be compared in the Trimble Connect itself, and also newly added properties for the change list. So this change list, you can directly view it and save these views and share with your project members. That is possible now in the Trimble Connect. Again, there is one more new functionality which we have to highlight to you. Rule-based organizer group in the Trimble Connect. So the rule-based organizer will be allow you to create a different rule based inside the Trimble Connect, and you can create a design workflow or the drawing submittal workflow, and this can be useful for you to in case of selecting the objects in the Trimble Connect or zooming in, or differentiate with the colorized based on the status, whatever the properties has been given, and controlling the managing the control. Like for example, if you want to control the access for that particular zone or the face, it is now possible. You can use that new rule-based organization group. This will be helpful. So this comes with a business premium. You can edit, create, and view. But for the personal and the business version, you can view it, but you cannot create or edit the rule. You cannot edit the organization data. Coming to the Trimble Connect model reviewer in Tekla structures. So there is a new extension which is available in the Tekla warehouse. So this extension will allow you to collaborate with your, for example, the drawing approver or the model approver. So you can create different groups in the Trimble Connect and assign, for example, you can assign the phase 1 has been approved, phase 2 has been revision and need modification. Those revision status can be reviewed in the Trimble Connect, as well as now using this extension, you can directly review inside the Tekla structures. So that will have from the side pane, you will find this extension, which is Trimble Connect model review, and it will allow you to colorize the Tekla structures model based on the drawing approval status or the 3D model approval status. So this can be used most of the time. We can say like whenever you are in like in the submission time, you can directly use and get approval for the 3D models. So this will be useful. And if you have any requirement about this tool, you can contact us, or we'll be like adding a link for this extension, how to use this extension in the Tekla structures, the complete workflow. We'll be sharing the video link in this webinar once we have completed. That's all from my end. Thank you. And now I will hand over to the Bobbin Herbert. So he will be explaining about continue by what is the new in the Tekla TIDS as well as the structural designer.
Thank you, Bala. Thank you so much for this great features and the presentation you had for us. Now I will hand over the mic to my colleague Babin Herbert. And over to you, Babin.
Hello, everyone. Hello, am I audible? Okay, yeah. Hi, everyone. Welcome to What's New in Tecla Ted's and Tecla Structural Designer 2023. I believe my colleague Bala and Kiran would have given you an extensive list of updates on the Tecla structures, the precast, as well as the steel. I'm here to give you a brief overview on the Tecla Ted's and the Tecla Structural Designer. My name is Babin, and I work here as a technical consultant for the software Tekla products. Let's begin with how the data flows with the engineering office to create a sustainable environment. When I say sustainability, we are looking at a package of softwares without the interference of other additional outside softwares. Having said that, using the Tekla softwares, we can achieve the efficient flow of data and the information passed on from one software to another software without much loss of information. Most of the engineering office encounter the lag of design stages due to the usage of different softwares for various purposes. Let's say a detailer or designer would start one task and then send it out to a structural engineer for verification, which is a time-consuming process. In order to overcome these challenges that we face in the today's market, Trimble have introduced an integration tool which not only reduces the required time frame for the engineering design, but also increases the efficiency with accurate informations. So let's look at the first update of Tecla Ted's Integrator version 4. So before jumping into the version 4 update, I just want to give you a brief on what is this Tecla Ted's Integrator. It's an integration tool which performs the act of linking the Tekla structural calculation document with the model component that is created in the Tekla structures software. You can download these Tekla structural tests integrator from the Tekla warehouse, and you can use it as an extension in the Tekla structures software. When I come to the update of Tekla TEDS integrator, there are two major features that I would like to highlight for you in the version 4 TEDS integrator. First is the inbuilt library, and the second is the custom made library that the user can add their own custom calculation and add it on to the library within the TEDS software. Both these libraries can be integrated with the Tekla structures software for checking the structural requirement of the model component that are modeled in the Tekla structures software. Let's say using the inbuilt library, structural engineers and steel detailers can now easily analyze the simple steel connections like shear plates, end plate connection, Tekla structures, and check if they satisfy the design codes, which can help them to reduce the time for the engineering works. Let's also have a brief video on how these inbuilt libraries work using the Tekla integrator tool. When any new connection has to be done, you just have to update the properties of the beam or the connection in the Tekla structures software. In this case, like the shear plate connection, you can update the properties of the shear plate as well as you can update the properties of the beam before exporting the entire model to the Tecla Ted software. You can give the length, breadth, the thickness of the plates, and then you can export the entire component as one connection to the Tecla software. Once the properties are updated, it will automatically link itself to the Tecla Ted software, where you can go and verify the document. Whatever you've updated in the Tecla software has been updated in the TETs or not. You can give the required forces and check the connection detail. In case if you want to change the bolt details, or if you want to change any shear plates, or if you want to change the thickness of it, you can modify here. Once the calculations is performed, it will automatically take it back to the Tekla structures software. And once these steps are done, you can preview the results, and then you can either cancel the entire calculation if the only purpose is to verify, or you can save the entire document, which will create and update it in the Tekla structures software itself. Moving on, we have the second feature, which is to link the custom-made calculation in the TETs for Word application and save it in My Calculation folder in the TETs library. Let's look at an example of calculating the volume of pad footing and how this calculation can be linked to the Tekla structures using the integrator tool. The very first step is to create a custom calculation for pad footing and save it to the TETs library. Once that is done, we have these three simple steps to perform for integrating the custom-made calculation with the Tekla structures. The first step is to provide an identity provider. What is an identity provider? It is a text file to which a unique name is assigned in order to identify the model component separately each time. So whenever you want to link a custom calculation document to a model component in Tekla structures, an individual identity should be created for each component so that the integrator easily recognize that particular component without any chaos. And the second step is to create a data provider. Data provider is a text file in which you will have to map the location of the custom-made calculation in TETs library. And also you need to map the variables that are used in the custom calculation. Let's say in our case, we have about length, width, and depth of the footing. The third step is to link the calculation between the identity provider and with the data provider. This would link the calculation to the Tekla structures model in the component. Let's have a small video where the integration of the custom calculation is done. Whenever you want to create a new calculation for a component or a member, just click on that member and select new option from the ribbon menu. Let's say if the structural identity of the element is already existing, the TETs calculation select dialog box will automatically appear on the screen. If the structural identity of that particular element is not existing in the calculation, then we'll have to create a structural identity as I informed you in the previous one, and then link it on to the TETs calculation. Let's say in this case, we do not have the structural identity of this pad footing. So we'll have to create our own calculation in order to find the volume of the footing. The first step is to write the calculation and save it on the TETs library. And the step number 2 is to create an identity provider, which is a Word notepad file, which is a text file. And the third thing is to provide a data provider and then link between these two. So the information is passed on to the Tekla structures and to the Tekla TETs. So once that is done, when you click that element and click on new, it will automatically direct you to the Tekla TETs page from where you can get the calculation done. This not only applies for the pad footing, this applies for all the custom-made calculation that you want to do. Let's look at how the Tekla software can be easily collaborated efficiently with the BIM viewer, Trimble Connect in this case. I believe my colleague Bala and Kiran would have explained to you about steel and precast collaboration with the Trimble Connect. Here I'm going to give you, Trimble Connect is a BIM viewer, or you can BIM collaboration tool where you can view all the architectural element, all the 3D files. The documentation is tagged along with it. You can use it for multi-purposes. In this case, I'm going to explain it to you. What are the new features that or are the updates that has been provided in 2023 Trimble Connect with respect to analysis and design. In the implementation of Tekla Ted's Trimble Connect upload, the design workflow is from the Tekla structural designer to the TETs and then to the Trimble Connect. Once uploaded, the text document is linked to the appropriate 3D object in the Trimble Connect web or in the application. Moving on, I just want to highlight few enhancements and new calculation that is added to the inbuilt library in the Tecla Ted software, using which now the user can prepare and deliver the reports with much confidence. The first enhancements is in the retaining wall. Now there are a couple of new options added to the enhancement in the retaining wall analysis and design to give engineers a much faster way of working and flexibility. Also, now we have an option where the user can now include the restoring effect of the surcharge in the stability calculation. In addition to that, we have the user-defined combinations, which allows the analysis part of the calculation to be used for other codes. New option also include where the user can now include or exclude the active pressure on the key in the stability calculations, which the structural engineer can decide to neglect or add on to that particular calculation. As I said, we also have a new edition of calculation document to the Tecla Ted's input library. We have now we can design the column and splice connection for both bearing and non-bearing cover plates, end plates which are subjected to moments and axial forces. Similar to the column plates, we also have new addition on the steel beam splice connection for cover plates and end plates between two identical steel sections subjected to shear, bending, or axial forces. Both these designs are updated as per the codes highlighted in the below slide. Moving on, we have a new addition of calculation document in the TEDS inbuilt library for the hollow section tension only splice connection, where you can now check the design of the column splice connection for both bearing and non-bearing cover plates, end plates subjected to moments and axial shear. These are the new additions to the Tecla TEDS in software 2023. On the concrete front, we have the addition of new RC beam calculation documents in TEDS inbuilt library, which can now calculate if there are any additional requirement for the torsional reinforcement for the RC steel beam under this design. This calculation is also applicable for solid rectangular section, which are subjected to a combination of direct shear and torsional moment. Further to the updates and addition to the building elements, we also have few additions on the infrastructure ends. 4 new calculations for highway designs are in accordance with the British Design Manual have been added in 2023 release. This calculation documents supersedes the old highway design done by DMRB7. The highway design includes the TEDS library where you can now calculate the design traffic from the annual average daily flow of commercial vehicles in accordance with the method outlined in DMRD 224 traffic assessment. The design traffic assessment can also individually be assessed as a separate calculation document, which is included in the TEDS inbuilt library. Also, the method of calculating the California bearing ratio is also included in this, which is widely used to determine the strength of the roads. California bearing ratio is a test that is used to understand the strength of the subgrades. The new footway design calculation have been included in the TEDS library, from where the calculation now allows the specification of footways or cycleways can be selected from the drop-down menu that you see here, provided you can select the pedestrian only or the cycle only, light vehicle or heavy vehicle options from that. Similar to the highway design, it also has a method of calculating the California bearing ratio, which is a test widely used to determine the strength of the roads, as I said earlier. The California bearing ratio can also be individually assessed as a separate calculation, which is also included in the TEDS for your easy reference. So moving on with some updates and new additional features for the Tekla Structural Designer. The first new addition to our 2023 release is that we have a new footfall analysis. This is specifically for structural engineers who would like to design residential, commercial, hospitals where the floors are vibration sensitive, have to consider this footfall analysis. When you ask a question why it is so important to include the design calculation, human footfall is a significant source of vibration, and when it is adversities are not assessed accurately during the design stage, no, the building would be susceptible to vibrations, which would make the workspace unusable, or sensitive equipment can't be used, or it could make the occupants uncomfortable. So there are two major guidance approach that are taken for the analysis of this footfall. The first approach is based on the SEI P354 design guide, and the second is using the CCIP 016. Previously, a much more simplified floor vibration check option was available with the TSD. Now it has been updated as per the Steel Construction Institute P354 guidance. So the engineers can use it in a much sophisticated way. On this release, we have only the SCI P354 implemented for the first release as of now, and the CCIP 016 to be followed further. When we look at how the FIM models can be modeled, engineers who wish to investigate the sensitivity based on the different assumptions, our implementations allow these variations to be considered side by side. This can be achieved in a more efficient and productive environment than using a traditional approach of creating multiple disconnected models. You can simply create a model and then define its facade restraints, multiple pacing frequencies, multiple footfall mass combinations, and then analyze the model altogether, which will give you the footfall analysis results. And then you can review the individual footfall analysis mode shapes. And if required, you can also go back and change the pacing frequency back again and do it for the multiple cases. When we look at what are the benefits of footfall analysis in TSD, the primary thing is it can be a cost-efficient solution to the design. In most design cases, in order to avoid vibrations, much heavier design members are used, which will add up the cost to the project. But when the design and analysis is done with the TSD for multiple scenarios, we can arrive at a required size of members without over design, which would save the cost. Here in TSD, the solution is offered in a single product, Tekla Structural Designer, and there is no requirement of any other additional software from the outside to analyze the footfall analysis. And generally, when we look at other softwares, we need to build a model based on nodes or individual line model and then assess the model step by step or individually. Whereas with Tekla Structural Designer, you need not build a separate model for the footfall analysis alone, whereas you can use the model that you have created for the overall analysis, and you can do the footfall analysis either as a part or for the entire flows altogether. Multiple scenarios can be checked in the same model and compared together for enhancements. We have a couple of enhancements that has been included in this release for the faster delivery. The first enhancement is on the global support reactions. Previously, this reactions could be only reported in the global access system. Now you could view those reactions in the global access system, in the building direction system, or at an angle to the global access system. Also, the benefits of this is to verify that the applied load equals to the reactions of all the supports. In addition to the enhancements of the global support reactions, we also have enhancements on the mode shape reporting. Structural designers are always reported the mode shapes reporting using the mass normalized conversions. Since there was many requests for an update on the unity normalized alternative reporting, now we have introduced an option where we can switch between the mass unity and the normalized unity normalized results. The preferred reporting style is set in either graphical or tabular results ribbons, and the preference is saved with the model. You can also have an efficient collaboration using the Rivet 2023 integrator. Structural engineers in the engineering office using both Rivet and Tekla Structural Designer generally face a problem when you export a model from one product to another product. The, the product is like the output is not connected altogether. So this latest release of Rivet 2023 has a significant changes to the analytical model in Rivet. The Tekla Structural Designer plugin for Rivet uses the analytical mode to export the model from Rivet. This release adds to a tool that can automatically create an analytical model which is significantly better connected, and therefore a metal model can be exported to the Tekla Structural Designer than the out-of-date model that has been created by the existing feature available within the tool. Generally, when you create a model export from the tool that is available within the Rivet itself, you will have unconnected members with eccentric analytical connections, fixed members remaining unstrained in both axes. All these steps can be avoided using the latest Rivet 2023 integrator. Once the physical model has been created, you can use the Tekla integration command to create the analytical model. This will generate the initial analysis model in which all the members are connected with relevant information. Models are quickly imported with no loss of information or corruption of data. The resulting model is structurally connected and can be implemented and can be immediately used without any further alteration. You can find the Tekla Structural Designer integrator for Autodesk Rivet 2023 in downloads.tekla.com under all downloads. When it comes to saving the time by designing multiple connections at once, the Tekla Structural Designer 2023 release comes with an additional new feature where you can now select multiple connections together and pass it on to IDEA Statica bot for solution checking. It is mainly updated keeping in mind the structural engineers who need to verify the connections like beam to column or beam to beam or various complex configurations. Engineers can now access both Checkbot and Tekla Structural Designer simultaneously for reviewing the analysis results. In addition to the feature that is already existing within the IDEA Statica, a new export feature has been now added to the release of 2023, with which you can now pass on the beam or a column joint with one or more braces member connected to it, typically a bracing connection. This new type of connection is termed as column beam brace connections, abbreviated simply as CBC of what you see on the screen. This connection type can be now exported to IDEA Statica for a quick solution checking. So these are the brief updates on the 2023 Tekla Structural Designer as well as the Tekla Structural Teds. All right, that's from my side. Thank you for being patient listeners till the end. Yeah, that's it. So Alap, can you take it over?
Yes, I'm turning on my microphone. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Babin, for this presentation. Now, I believe I put together a couple of questions that we want to share with you guys. And in this one, I will be asking you guys if you can come together. Can you hear me now, Babin? I just turned on your microphone.
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. So what I'm saying here, I will. Okay, let me turn on the camera. Can we sit all of you together?
Sure.
Yes. So now we are preparing the setup, guys, for the questions that we've been receiving through the promotion for this webinar. We managed to gain like a good number of questions, but we will answer a couple of them. And at the same time, if we couldn't cover the entire questions, we will, of course, respond to it by email. And yes, so our team, where is Babin? Babin is here. Okay, guys. So Babin, can you get closer to the camera? We want to see your face also. Yeah. So we have the first question. Okay, does entering slot value moves the bolt? This question, I believe, is going to be for Bala.
I think Bala can take it.
Yeah, I will take it. So bolt plotter will not move like when there is a changes, like when the values are specified, it will not move the bolts. It's just only move the slots in the model.
Okay. And the second question,
Alan, we cannot hear you. Like
you can. Oh, okay. So many buttons here, so I have to figure it out. So the old dialog boxes for each drawing types has been removed in Tekla Structures 2023.
Yeah, I think I can take that because it's from the drawing. Like with the new introduction of the property pane in the drawing side, similar to the one we have done in the model side, so that all the properties now it will be available in the drawing pane. I mean, like in the property pane in the drawing side, so that you don't need to again need those old different dialog box for each object type. So all of the properties you can get it from the property pane. And since to answer your question, so like all of the properties dialog box has been removed, but the same contents can be accessed from the property pane. And to be specific, currently the view properties and the drawing, I mean the cautionary drawing properties, the assembly drawing properties, all of those dialogs are still there, but rest of the types like drawing object properties and all of those things are now currently migrated to the property.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Very nice. So we have, how can I access the new Tekla model sharing console?
Okay, then I think I can take that. Yeah. So the new Tekla model sharing console, it's not that the new model sharing console, like every time the Tekla model sharing console, like even in the previous time, it can be accessed only by the Tekla account administrator. So only that person, like who has been marked as an administrator in the Tekla online admin portal can only access the Tekla model sharing console.
Nice.
I think it's only the user interface change, right?
Yeah, it's only the user interface has been revamped like it has been done recently, so that all model sharing data can be properly visualized, and even the administrator can find out the user data, like which user is having which Tekla model ownership. All of those things can be accessed from the Tekla model sharing console.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now for, I believe, Babin for Tecla Ted's. If I make changes in Tecla Ted's calculation document, can it be reflected in Tecla Structures?
Yeah, actually, these are one of the features I was explaining in the enhancements about the Tecla Ted's 2023. It can work either ways, like you can transfer the data from Tecla Structures to Tecla Ted's, as well as you can transfer the data from Tecla Ted's to the Tecla Structures as well, using a new integration tool version 4. We have a latest update of this version 4. Using that, the flow of data is much efficient, and the exact data is stored when you click on a particular button in Tecla Structures. The exact data is being transferred to the Tecla Ted's as well.
Nice. I believe if our viewers have any more questions, of course, they will reach out to you immediately. Or they can contact us at the marketing email. So at the same time, we have another questions. Okay. Threads in material can be viewed in the model?
Yeah, I can answer this one. The threads cannot be viewed in the model. Only the core hole size can be specified in the model. Threads can be viewed only in terms of saying like only the DST viewers can be like it is possible to view, but it's not with all the DST viewers. Only the DST viewer has a capability of reading the NC file with the threads. So only in the NC file, sorry, the DST viewer you can view it.
Nice, nice. It's good to learn these technical things, even though I'm from the marketing, but I'm also learning as the viewers, exactly. Okay, does the new recognize bent rebar as straight bars works for the old rebar groups?
Yeah, I think I can take that. Yeah. So this the new feature of recognize it as a straight bar. It applies for all type of reinforcement. So it is basically an implementation which has been added to the rebar shape manager. So it doesn't matter that if you model the rebar as a single rebar or the old rebar groups or the with the new one rebar set, it all applies with all reinforcement type.
Nice.
So that one is yes. Yeah.
Short answer is yes. Okay, so we have. Oh, okay. We did not find any improvements on bridge with Tekla Structures 2023.
I'm happy that someone have asked that question. So so usually the bridge improvements we actually release it as an extension in the Tekla warehouse as a bridge creator tool. So the latest version of the tool, like for this year, we are going to release in like I think the mid year. So almost the testing and like finalizing is actually going on, and hopefully I think we can have a separate session maybe on that bridge improvements later. So currently it has not been released along with the Tekla Structures 2023 version. So, but you can download that one like once it is released in the Tekla warehouse.
Nice, nice. Okay. We have more questions. Can we have two more?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think,
sure,
yeah,
no problem.
yeah, let's go for it.
Okay. So, okay. Can multiple floors be analyzed at the same time for footfall analysis?
Yeah, I believe with the 2023 release, yes, we will be able to analyze multiple flows simultaneously at a time. But whereas so far the game has been like you'll be able to analyze a single node or a line, a particular line at once. But with the new upgrade, we'll be able to do multiple flow analysis. Provided you should be able to provide all the restraints, whatever is required as a prerequisite. So you'll have to fulfill that, and you'll be able to analyze it completely. Yes.
Nice.
Simultaneously, yes.
Nice, nice. Okay, one more question. Let's see. Where to find the Trimble Connect model reviewer?
Okay, I can answer that. So the Trimble Connect model reviewer, you can go to the Tekla warehouse. So in the Tekla warehouse, you can find these extensions. This extensions, your latest version or any related to this support learning material, all are available in the details tab of Tekla warehouse. So you can find it in the you can find it in the Tekla warehouse.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, I believe we are like exceeding the limit of our webinar. We promised our customers for 45 minutes. Now we are like over like 70 minutes. So it was joyful. I personally enjoyed this session, and I believe we should have more of these quite often, so we can meet our customers
for
and
sure.
hear their questions, and also gain your expertise in front of camera. For our viewers, of course, you can always get back to our YouTube channel. We recently opened this channel for the Middle East, even though we have the global one called Trimble Inc. But this one, especially for the Middle East, it's quite new. So we encourage you all to subscribe and keep following us on social media. We have LinkedIn called Trimble Tekla Middle East, where we post all our news and features and events. And this is a great opportunity to keep in touch, and maybe we can collaborate and maybe we can work together. And the next time you can be our guest also. Our experts here, they can like host you and have a couple of questions with you. So without any further ado, I appreciate your time and effort. Thank you for joining us today. With this, I will be happy to close this stream and see you in the next one.